CBS television presents a special report on Sputnik 1, the Soviet space satellite. Douglas Edwards reporting.
Until 2 days ago, that sound had never been heard on this Earth. Suddenly, it has become as much a part of 20th century life as the whir of your vacuum cleaner. It's a report from man's farthest frontier, the radio signal transmitted by the Soviet Sputnik, the first man-made satellite as it passed over New York earlier today. One of the places where the progress of the satellite is being watched most closely is the Hayden Planetarium in New York. CBS News correspondent Richard C. Hottelet reports from there now.
Doug, we're in the great dome of the Hayden Planetarium in New York, and I have with me Dr. Kenneth Franklin, an astronomer on the planetarium staff. Dr. Franklin, can you tell us where the Sputnik is now and how it's moving?
Right now it's north of Auckland, New Zealand, and moving southeast. It will be, in 10 minutes, about 1,500 miles north of Middle America, and in about 24 minutes it will be over Santiago, Chile, and in about 50 minutes from now it will be over Spain.
Well, it looks as though it'll be missing the United States on this trip.
That's quite correct, it will.
But it does come over here periodically, doesn't it?
It comes over here at least twice a day, and maybe more.
Now, getting back to this track, is it possible that it is transmitting a code, not just a beep signal for the radio listening?
Yes, it's quite possible that it's transmitting a code, but we don't realize what the code is, of course.
The initial thrust to get it into the air comes from the lowest and biggest of the rockets in the tandem. When the American satellite is launched, the takeoff power will come from a rocket like this one shown in a recent test. The powerful thrust of the Aerobee sends the whole assembly up through the dense stratosphere, a layer of heavy air 50 miles thick surrounding the Earth. The first rocket is then dropped, its fuel exhausted. The second rocket ignites and takes over. Altitude 140 miles, satellite being stripped for action. It's that round ball in the nose. Altitude better than 250 miles, and the second rocket burns out, but its momentum carries the whole assembly forward. Second rocket spent, the third and last one takes over. The final thrust that carries the satellite into its chosen orbit. Then all the rocket power gone, but tremendous force has been built up, and the satellite is pushed off on its own at a speed of 18,000 miles an hour. Fixed course circling the Earth beyond the reach of the Earth's gravitational pull. Hundreds of miles in space, the satellite's instruments start collecting data, sending it back in the form of radio signals. A pilotless spaceship, man's advanced scout in outer space.
Precisely what kind of information do you want from this satellite? What is it set up to do?
There are hundreds of problems that we'd like to solve with these satellites. Practically every scientist across the United States would like to have his pet problem pursued. No doubt early satellites will investigate temperature of outer space. They will use thermistors in order to do this. These thermistors are very delicate devices which will register very slight changes in temperature. Then also we will have weathermen will put photoelectric cells into some of the satellites, and these will give us some idea of cloud cover all over the Earth in a very short length of time. And then we shall also have the atomic scientists investigating the nature of cosmic particles.
Well, Dr. Newell, what about the vital question that everybody is thinking about? Why and how did the Russians beat us to the draw?
Well, in answer to that, I'd like to say a few introductory words first. When we began our program, the planners and the engineers and the scientists drew up a schedule for themselves which consisted of a number of logical engineering steps to lead to the final objective. Now, this schedule placed them in a race with time because they had to get the satellite up during IGY. And naturally, we can assume that the Soviets did the same thing, and they were in a race with time also with the same deadline. It therefore quite reasonable that one or the other would get a satellite up first. It would in fact be a very remarkable coincidence if both of them went up on the same day at the same time.
Was it a surprise to you that they got there first?
Well, it was something of a surprise, and naturally, since this generates a certain amount of scientific rivalry, something of a disappointment to us, but this does not lessen our admiration of what the Soviets have done.
Moscow has not been passing up its opportunities. CBS News correspondent Dan Shore observes in a recorded report from Moscow.
Although the main Soviet papers today devote more than half their space to the satellite, with front-page banner headlines such as rarely seen in this country, there are precious few scientific details being divulged. The headlines are about glorious victory of Soviet science, or, as the communist newspaper says in a banner, the first in the world is ours. Stresses on exploiting the satellite as a political and propaganda triumph. A prompt editorial says, no social system is so interested in developing science as the socialist system. Our scientists have achieved outstanding results with the effective support of the Communist Party and Soviet government.
Here again, a report by Howard Smith on some of these current vibrations in Washington.
Well, there's a very profound concern here, Doug, about world opinion. The dominant conflict of our time, the Cold War, is at present, as everyone knows, in a state of balance between Russia and the West, and in between are those people who are called uncommitted, who may determine who wins, the peoples of Asia, the Near East, and Africa. Russia already enjoys one great attraction for these important peoples, and their ambition is to pull themselves up from primitive agrarian countries to become modern industrial nations. They tend to admire Russia as a nation which was once as backward as they, but which did pull herself up. And now that backward Russia has beaten the West's most advanced nation into the fringes of outer space, their admiration for Russia can be expected to increase. And there may be another consequence. Russia has in recent months been threatening nations who grant bases to America. Those threats have not been taken very seriously, but now the world knows that it took a far more powerful projectile than America possesses to push that satellite into its orbit in space. In view of that, Russia's threats may be more effective from now on. Probably no one here in the nation's capital would disagree with one thing that Senator Wiley said. We had better get on our toes. Now back to Douglas Evans.
Here in New York, the latest word off the news wires indicates that there has still been no confirmed actual sighting of the Soviet space satellite. Astronomers around the world, however, of course, lining up their sights and expect to be tracking it soon. Meanwhile, according to the latest Russian reports, the Sputnik 1 holds its course some 560 miles out in space. And as we've heard in these reports from both at home and abroad this afternoon, the course of United States policies in the competition with Russia has been severely shaken. This is Douglas Edwards. Good evening.